Okay. Hello and welcome, guys, to another mastermind, Young Rising Kings mastermind. This is something that we've been doing for a long time. We've been getting together for over a year now, and these have been so powerful for us. I know they've been really healing for me personally, and um, I know we're at a point now where we're opening it up for everybody else to really tap in. And today's topic is one that I think it's going to be very, very important for us to talk about. And Zambrano doesn't know anything about this because Zambrano just made another kid, but we're talking about sex today, guys. We're talking about sex today. We're going to be talking about all of that. We're going to be talking about how to transmute uh, that energy and how as men we can use that energy for our own benefit. Because I see a lot of men struggling with how to navigate that because it's a really intense energy and I really wanted to open it up for the mastermind to see, how do you guys go about transmuting that energy? How do you guys go about and I'm pretty sure everybody here on the call right now, it's a relationship. So like, how do you guys go about um, using the energy wisely rather than letting it consume you? Because I know I've been consumed in the past. I'll be real as fuck. I 100% been consumed in the past, and I know how he feels. I know how he feels. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
This is a great topic, guys, because it's something that when we look at our society today, we notice a lot of strange, peculiar behaviors going on with people. We have a lot of cheating, we have a lot of lying, and we have a lot of hookup culture. And I'm going to explain to you why that's so toxic. First of all, when we connect with someone sexually, it's not just a casual encounter. This is an intense experience where two people come together and connect. And once you make that connection with someone, there's energetic chords that happen in our energy field. Um, and so it's very important, in my own opinion, to pick the right partner, not just to go have sex with anybody. First of all, it's bad energy hygiene. And second of all, you're creating a lot of downstream negative effects in your life that are going to haunt you for the rest of your life unless you know how to clean those cords. So our society pushes this very hard. Oh, this hookup culture, this hookup culture. It's very toxic. People always get hurt, and it's extremely unhygienic energetically. And then it pushes the fact that then if people engage in that behavior, they're going to take away a potential intimacy in their life that's really important with a partner that they really care about. When we really connect with someone that we care about, we realize that this hookup culture is a fallacy and it's a lie and it's dangerous, especially for men, because when we have sex and we ejaculate, we actually lose energy. We don't gain energy, we lose energy. Unless you're with someone that you really care about and they can mutually share that energy with you. So I'm not going to go in too much more because I want other people to talk, but the hookup culture is extremely toxic. It leads to people cheating on their partners, cheating on their husbands, cheating on their wives, and doing all this really stupid behavior that ruins relationships and ruins families. And not just your own family, but the family that the person that someone wants to cheat with. It's very destructive behavior, and I think as men, it's very childish, and it proves to me that when people engage in this, that they can't think past their lines, which is to me very pathetic. Because we as men need to create a safe space for women and the community. And if we're running around looking at women as pieces of meat just to engage with and stick our meat in, literally, we're not a safe space at all. We're not a safe space at all. And we as men need to be safe spaces, especially in this time where times are chaotic and there's not a lot of safe spaces unless we create them. So be a safe space, man. Be a safe space. And if you're one of the people on this call, I don't think any of you are, but if you're running around willy nilly just having sex with anyone else, I really invite you to check yourself and look in the mirror and understand that what you're doing is very dangerous and very damaging to yourself and the people around you.
Bro, Sean, we just started, bro. You can't cook like this. You can't. Jesus, Jesus, that's so good, bro. I'm glad that we're diving right in because I 100% agree with what you're saying. Go ahead, Sambrano.
Well, I want to say uh, it depends which stage in life people is at. It's this topic has so many layers depending, like if you are just entering active sexual life, if you are an adult, if you are married already. Uh, but obviously, start with us. Start with knowledge. Knowing ourselves as men, like what we like and what we like it, and if we are using sex as a mechanism to go to vent, to don't cope with reality, if we are, if you know, validating stereotypes that are not actually true, but we want to force it, our views in relationship, our views in towards women. Culture also plays a big important role here. Like you have to analyze and defer if you want to with what was taught to you. You have to learn a lot of stuff, especially at least myself growing up from a very like old school mindset where men's value it's about how many women's they're going out with, or but at the same time respecting the housewife. Like I had that in home, but still I have a duty as a man to show up and show up financially, show up even emotionally for multiple people. So, and those are mechanisms to build multiple kingdoms. You cannot build like a bunch of kingdoms around. Like that's difficult to maintain from a time perspective, from an economical perspective. It's not efficient in any possible way. And obviously I met awesome people. Some of my friends are in a different kind of agreement. I will say that agreement is key. Like if the other person sign up for the same type of structure, the same type of expectation and agreement, okay, of course, but you gotta be in alignment. Sometimes we are with a person, we say that we want something that we're not ready for, or that we might like in the future, but we don't want to risk, to be honest. Like, hey, I'm not ready to settle. I'm not ready, or I'm exploring myself, or this relationship is not that serious. But nobody wants to say that, because then you come up as rude, but you're come up as honest, and you might find people in the same stage as you that wants to have the same agreements as you. But we are in this topic. Yeah, I know we're talking specifically about sex, but like sex in from a casual way, and even to a deeper level with your partner, it start way before the intercourse. So it's like what we're doing here. And I'm, through life, you can have different experience what meaningless sex looked like, and then what, purposeless sex looks like as well. So that's my take for now.
I'm gonna be taking so many notes today. Oh my God. This is amazing. This is amazing. Alex, go ahead, bro. I saw your hand up first. Go ahead.
Yeah, what up, Drew? Just to catch you up to pace, man, we're just talking about sex energy and just dynamics between men and women in our society, just kind of all sharing our thoughts on it.
Cool.
Um, so for me, guys, it's interesting because I had a pretty serious girlfriend early on, and she really kept me in check in certain ways. And she helped me really realize that energy is super important. And because in my experience, men we're really led by our loins. Like there's so much energy in that part of our body. And I noticed that since we're led by our loins and women are led more by their hearts, it creates this interesting dynamic. So I think men, a lot of the times, is a big part of it is just releasing all that energy. I know that, if I haven't ejaculated in a while or if I haven't had sex in a while, like there's a lot of energy. And I sometimes feel like a 10-foot tiger in like a 5-foot cage. So for me, cornerstone for me to focus that energy, a big part of it is exercise, physical movement. That's been super, super helpful for me. And then and then after that exercise, like if I'm still in the mood for those things, then I'll seek it out. I'll seek it out with, a girlfriend. Um, and and to Sean's point too, it's like since it's very different for women, we do create a really big energetic bond. And you know, the old saying that women says, "Oh, it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything." It changes everything. And they don't think of it like we do. It's very, very different. And it does create these energetic ties. And interestingly enough, for me, in college, I avoided a lot of the hookup culture. Um, Not because of my thoughts on it, because it scared me. I always got in my head about it. Like if I was, met like a girl at a bar or something, and like she, was making insinuations, it's just like I always would get in my head about it, and I'd be like, man, I wonder how many other guys she's done this with. And I kind of go back to my first girlfriend who, she was my high school girlfriend into college. And like we waited a long time. And like we did that very consciously.
Partially because I want to think that we're kind of mature about it, but also part of it, she was in like a very conservative Mexican household. And the fact that I was white and like there's all these dynamics. So like I wanted to respect that and she wanted to respect that too, because her parents would have fucking killed her if they knew. Especially not being married and all that stuff. And then, she was like their oldest girl and all that stuff. So I got to sidestep a lot of that because of her, and I really thank her for that. So for me, most of my life has been about I've had a lot of sex, but it's only been with like a few women, like throughout the ages. Like it's not been with a lot of partners, and I'm really happy I got to kind of sidestep a lot of that culture that Sean was talking about. I think a big part of it too is being adopted. Like if I'm thinking about it, like and it may sound weird. I'm still trying to connect these dots, but like since my dad did that to my mom, like my birth parents, like kind of just like busted and went, like I think that really made an impact on me. It's just like I don't really want to do that. And like, you hear about people like I got her pregnant, like I don't know how. It's like I do. I know exactly how. It's like it's a pretty easy mechanism. So yeah, I'm really grateful I got to sidestep a lot of that hookup culture and stuff. I just didn't interest me, and it honestly more than anything scared me.
So, we get it. You're better than us. I understand. I cannot say that. I know Zambrano definitely can't say that either. I know that for a fucking fact. I know that for a fucking fact. Personally, that's something that I had to learn. When I was in college, I was not in relationships. I was definitely, I've had girlfriends since I was 17 and everything, but once I started college and I was in a fraternity. I lived in a fraternity house. I was dorming as well, and I was very deep into hookup culture. I was lucky that I never did the whole like Tinder swiping, like I'm more of an in-person kind of guy, but I definitely had a roster. Shit, this is recorded, but hey, they know, and I'm still friends with all of them, so it's all good. But I definitely had multiple women that I was with, and I noticed how draining it was for me. I noticed how draining it was for me, and I noticed how much energy it was requiring on my side. And I was always honest, like I wasn't hiding it from any of them. Like I was really clear as to the season that I was in. But then after that, I actually was in a long-term relationship, and there's just a level of depth that you can get to when you're dating someone for a long time that you simply can't reach just by dating random people. Um, for a time, I honestly, as you're getting to know yourself, though, I do believe that for some men, it can be helpful to kind of get to learn about yourself a little bit more if you have, women who can actually support you in that way. But I think in today's, hookup culture, it's not a lot of that. It's mostly about the sex. Like, at least for me, when I was, dating all these women, like, I had a really good relationship with them. I got along with them. Like, I was dating multiple women, but it wasn't like, oh, just fucking dump and like do all that stuff, which I saw a lot of my brothers do. They would literally just be like, all right, I'm done. I already came, freaking leave. I don't care. And I could never like imagine doing something like that. And if to an extent, like I feel like some men do need to get that out of the system so they can see for themselves because some men don't believe you when you tell them. Like, now I would talk to younger men and I would tell them like, hey, you don't, that doesn't serve you, it's not helping you, like you're really just getting destroying your energy. But I've noticed some young men that like, no, I need to experience it for myself so that then I can actually know if this is the life that I want to live or if I want to do something long term. And ever since I had the long term relationship, like I cannot even imagine it. I cannot even imagine it. That was like what, 8 years ago, something like that. That I made that switch, and I'm so glad that I did because it's so draining. It's so draining, and what Sean was saying is spot on. Where like you're when you ejaculate, you're giving away your energy. But when you're with someone that you're actually supposed to be with, it actually gives you more energy rather than like make you feel like shit, or make you feel drained. And I'm not talking about balls here, although those were also the case. We gotta keep it light. We gotta keep it light. We gotta keep it light. So yeah. Yeah, personally, I'm very concerned for this generation of men and how dating is happening now with the whole apps and stuff. Like I did it for a little bit, like my last girlfriend, I met her through an app and I stopped like using that altogether. But I see men and that's like how they live. Like I have a lot of good friends that still do that. They're just like swipe, 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 match with somebody, fuck, next person, fuck. And then the women are doing, at least the women on the apps are doing the same thing. And it's really concerning for me. Like I think that's destroying like our being as a man or as a woman. And I think there's a better way. And I honestly think the better way is like fucking human to human contact. Like when you actually feel the other person before you even decide if you want to like make a move with that person. So yeah, so I'm saying all this because I resonate with you guys, and I think what you guys are sharing is really powerful and very true. And also, like just to piggyback on one time Brandon share about the kingdom, like when you're building a kingdom and you're trying to build a kingdom with like 18 queens, like how is your energy being used wisely? You're just creating a bunch of huts everywhere. You're not really creating an actual castle or anything. You're not really doing anything worthwhile. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Y'all know me a little bit better now, so y'all know I'm an open book, and don't tell anyone about this. Go ahead, Sean. I'll say your hands up, brother.
So what's really important to understand about this conversation is physiology. When we look at the structure of a female body, their sex organs are on the inside of their body. They're not on the outside of their body. Our body is a magnetic loop and it's an alternating current loop. So that's the first thing you need to understand. Men, like we're talking about, give away energy when we orgasm. Women don't. Women don't give away energy. And it's been in my experience in talking to many men, older men, not little children, but older men. And what we came to realize is that these urges that we have, oh, I need to have sex, I need to ejaculate. We live in a world of misinterpretations, guys. In my opinion, 99% of the time, that is not what you want and that's not what you need. That's just what you think you want and what you think you need. What you really need is to breathe. Because when you understand the power of the breath, we can circulate our energy appropriately. In this society, we thrive on stagnation. We sit all day, we work all day, we don't move our bodies enough, and we damn well don't breathe enough. When we start breathing properly, not into our belly, but into our balls, that's where our breath is supposed to lie. It's supposed to be in our pelvis. That's where the breath comes from. When you decide to take a practice on of actually breathing properly, and I would say but between 200 and 500 times a day, where you sit down and you breathe appropriately. Test it out sometime. Oh, I want to have sex. I feel horny. Okay, maybe. Sit down and breathe properly for 200 repetitions to 500 repetitions. Not only will you find that that energy leaves you, but it's actually a creative energy that your body and your energetic essence is actually craving for. And if we just go to floor number one, it's I'm horny and I need to have sex. That's almost never true, by the way, guys. I'm sorry. I know this might be triggering for a lot of men. It's not true. You don't need to have sex. You need to breathe. And when you circulate that energy, you're going to find that your urges, your animal urges disappear and your creative and energetic essence thrive. And those projects that you want to finish, those problems that you want to solve, the solutions are going to come to you very quickly because you didn't focus on floor number one. You went up to floor number 10 with your breath. That energy in your pelvis and your balls is just energy. And it's up to you and how you want to interpret it. So I challenge any of you men, next time you feel horny, next time you feel like you need to have sex, don't. And go breathe appropriately for 200 to 500 reps. I can almost guarantee that that urge and that feeling is going to disappear. And you're going to have all this creative energy, all this energy for the things that are actually very important for your life right now. And you're going to notice that your life takes on a whole new meaning. The hookup culture evaporates in your mind. And the urge to find someone that you actually connect with and care about is actually going to rise if you don't already have that in your life. So find your breath. It's just energy.
I'm not even gonna comment on that because Francisco's hand is up. Go ahead, Francisco. But I do want to say I agree 100% with you, bro. You're speaking only facts. So if you're hearing this for the first time and you're like, no fucking way, it's because you haven't fucking done it. Go ahead, Zambrano.
Yeah, I wanted to tap in something that happened to me when I was single, prior my first marriage, and after my first and only divorce. And basically, when I was dating, and I felt like I was cheating to somebody else that I haven't met yet. So I had this feeling like, hey, I'm not, I feel that I'm betrayal. I'm sharing myself with the wrong person, and I know that that person is out there waiting for me. And I, mind you, not Christian background. At that time, I was a full atheist, pragmatical believer in science at that time. So, and still, I felt that. I felt like, hey, okay, you're doing it, but I know that out there is somebody else that I won't feel this way. So I wouldn't settle. None of the twice times that I got married until I find a person that didn't feel like I was shooting somebody else. So when you settle, uh, when I settled, and I was like, okay, so this is the person that I can build a kingdom with. And then sex is it's other stuff. It's it start in the morning with the breakfast and end up in the bed. It start also with not and I've done it, and it's not healthy, sleeping in different beds. Even though I will say this at the time, my granny always say, never let the sun go, never let the sun to go a full day being mad with your partner. Like, before going to bed, you gotta figure it out. Regardless what's the issue, regardless how bad was the discussion, you try to figure it out before going to bed. Because if you start being able to go to bed with that issue pending, you know, nor sex will happen, nor peace. So forget about both. Forget about everything if you want to. If that lasts long, you can forget about it. So I would say that uh, sometimes we have a thing that is not sex. It's about love. It's about deserving and about expectation. What's my expectation of this stranger that I just met on Tinder? And some Disney fantasy, or it's just a physical, connection that you're looking. But then it's like, okay, so what's my expectation of myself? Like, if I find a potential partner and I'm, down to commit or not, but I feel like I don't feel like this story is over yet, and that's where the sparkles start, and you're like, okay, I actually want to know more of these people, and then you start dating, and then you decide if you're full to be with that person for the rest of your life. And what people don't understand sometimes, that the rest of their life is today, because you make that commitment, of course, but the rest of your life is, you don't know, you're not certain how much it's gonna last. So you're gonna have this uh, long, period of dating when you actually find probably the person that will you can build a kingdom with. And it's kind of obvious. Like, you don't go around and you see a fake queen or a fake king. It's hard when you see royalty, you kind of recognize that. So just to use that analogy, a king will see a queen, and a queen will see a king. And if that's what you're looking, that's what you're gonna get. But we look at the wrong places. We look at very wrong places. Okay, I might find the queen in the bar. I might find the queen in the strip club. Who knows? But likely, this person will come with some reference, and reference matter. Like, twice times that I got married, they both come from certain level of reference. Somebody else introduced this person to me, somebody that was dear to me. So I was like, oh, so reference matters. So why you feel that we are a match? That will be my first question to anybody that will introduce me, potential partner. And then I'll be the judge to that. And the twice the times that have happened, I consider both of my marriages. Obviously, this one is the most successful one in terms of, like, happiness, peace, and everything. But I do will say that, obviously, don't wait for somebody else to refer a wife to you. That's a bad example. But what I'm saying is that this person you will recognize at the moment you see it. So and you deserve it. And from that, and you deserve it because you have worked for that, and you're a king. And because you're a king, you deserve, obviously, a queen as well. So that will happen eventually. It can take years, whatever, but come on. You're a king. You got time.
That's wonderful fucking advice. That's wonderful fucking advice. I love that. Go ahead, Alex.
So Well, to start on with the reference comment, I noticed for me, I guess I've never really used any of those dating apps because I don't have time for it. I don't know how to use them, honestly. It's a tech thing first. All joking aside, um, I just noticed that I always find the right person I'm supposed to be with when I'm out living my life and like doing what I'm really called to do. And I find that that's always been the best match. Again, I think like the apps for me, at least in my experience, as I think about it, I think that they would just really put me in my head. And then it like feels more like this combative thing as opposed to this natural alignment thing. Um, and the quote that shows up for me is what Bruce Lee said is I believe in love at first sight, but I believe in taking a second look. And and this brings me back to my next point that I wanted to really talk about. And then I'll touch on something that showed up for me with Sean's share. I actually really disagree with you, Carlos, about the hookup like men kind of having to get that out of their system. I actually really disagree with that. Because I noticed that like we then think that that's what a relationship is. And in my experience of men, if we really want to be with a woman, at least in my experience, in my opinion, that respects us and we will have good sex with, we actually shouldn't have sex quickly. Um, because that's when we start to capitulate and give our power to this person. And we got to really be mindful of that. And obviously, like it's as you said, Francisco, like we'll know, but I think that at first we have the power. We have the power to say, no, I'm not going to do that. And what's really interesting is that I've met a lot of women in my past, and when they realized I didn't want to fuck them at first, they would just leave me. They wouldn't talk to me anymore. And it's like, that's really interesting. That's what you really wanted. You didn't really want to be with me, and that's okay. But it helped me sidestep that and kind of get through that. And so maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe it's unconventional towards societal terms, but I really like to wait, and I really like to do it on my terms first. And this is not to say like if she's not in the mood, I'm like, okay, I'm in the mood, we're gonna do it. Like it's this mutual thing because I notice that women have those impulses too, and those things, and especially in our society with things shifting and the power dynamic kind of shifting. I think it actually puts us in more of a responsible position to actually keep our dick in our pants, and unless we really want to, and we really want to deal with the consequences, for better or for worse, which is okay. If you want to do that, like, no sweat off my back, like, but just be willing to pay the consequence because everything changes after that. Everything changes, and also, in terms of ejaculating, if you guys really think about it, what is the main reason to ejaculate? It's to make a kid. I'm actually in the impression that we actually really don't even need to do that unless we're going to make a kid. And I would suggest too, and what I would, in my experience, I noticed that when I don't, you can go longer, and also you can actually help her get farther along because we can release so quickly, and it takes women normally a lot longer than men. And your woman might be pissed about it at first too. Um, not speaking from personal experience or anything. But
That was definitely personal experience. But go.
but it's like this energy game, and like I just maybe it's because I'm older and I've been able to sidestep some silly choices. Definitely made some silly choices in my life. Not perfect, wouldn't claim to be either, but I just noticed that when I use that energy, like I feel better at work, I feel more productive in my exercise sessions. I'm able to really be a better leader if I can really focus that really intense, fiery energy. And someone who has a really high sex drive, I feel like I've had that like most of my adult life since I've hit puberty. As I focus that, I notice that when I don't capitulate and react to it, I notice that I can really, as Sean was saying, breathe that energy through my body and be like, okay, what's really showing up here? And like, is this the choice that I want to make? Or do I want to utilize it for something more productive? So that's been my experience with that. Yeah.
We really cook into that. I knew this was gonna be a fun topic. Let's fucking go. Go ahead, Drew. Nice to meet you. I don't think I met you, brother. Welcome.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, Sean and Alex know me very well. I've known these guys for 20 plus years. So it's nice to meet you, Carlos and Francisco. I've heard a lot about you guys. Yeah, it's good to be here. Yeah, so on the topic of dating and relationships, I'm personally just divorced last year. So it's been a year of being single after a 10-year relationship. So it's been a big transition. I'm a I'm a dad to a 5-year-old and 50/50 co-parent. Um, but yeah, being back into the dating pool is definitely different than this last go around. You know, I met my ex-wife through the dating apps back in 2015, and it was fairly quick. We matched pretty quick, and then we're like very in sync from the get-go. But it didn't work out, and yeah, nowadays it's I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, the whole topic of casual sex. I mean, obviously, like long-term relationship sex, I think is better because you're committed to that person, you have that connection, and it's just a different level to it. But there's something to like. I don't think the hookup culture is necessarily bad or casual sex. Um, I think it's really cool meeting people that I wouldn't have crossed paths with in my regular life. I work remotely, I'm a dad, I'm pretty busy. Like I don't cross paths with like a ton of people, but um so it's cool to meet new people and have new experiences. But yeah, like sex right away can feel cheap or it can feel really good. Sometimes connecting with somebody on that like primal level is energetic and everybody's on the same page and expectations are kind of laid out and there's good communication. It can be a really good thing, but it can definitely be a draining thing too. Um, I think it's all about, yeah, just knowing yourself and knowing what you need and communicating with your partner and where they're at and what they need, being honest about that, and just seeing where the connection goes.
Loving all the different perspectives. This is fucking awesome. Go, thank you, Judas, brother. I love it. I love it. And once again, welcome. Love having you here.
Oh, grateful to be here. Thank you.
So, Rado, go ahead, brother. I see your hand is up.
I mean, as I stated at the beginning of the call, it's all about where you are at the time that you're asking that question. Because if you ask me a couple years ago when I was going through something similar, I will tell you that the best way to know myself was casual dating. I'll be dating people, discovering stuff about myself, the stuff that I like, stuff that forget about the sex part, the date, the questioning. What do you, and then 10 in a week asking the same question, and you will have a different answer. So, what do you do for a living? Well, and then depending if you got many projects, you will choose different hats. What do you like? Do you like this music? Well, this is the artist of the week. So you got this feedback, and you can call it like mini, a feedback session with these strangers that they're looking, could be sex, it could be actually, uh, you're lonely. You're meant to be with somebody, you're not
No.
because XYZ, and you got this person in the same situation that maybe is not ready to settle either, but also wants to spend time, like, and you can, have a lot of friends after dating. So I think that dating, and then when you're in the date that you were probably just whining not to go, and even your therapist tell you, hey, you need to start dating. It's been a year or whatever, and then you're there trying to make it for you, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so I have a daughter as well, so it's like, wow. Uh, then the game changed. It's like, who am I right now, and what kind of man I want to be for my daughter,
Yeah.
and she can come to me for advice. So it's like I cannot be. It's just the justification, the way that she justifies that she made her an asshole because my dad was an asshole. So it's like, okay, so the bar is higher. So I won't introduce people to her until it was something serious or nothing like that. So the change, the rules will change over time, and I will say that there was people that obviously they will never become the queen of this kingdom, but they do show direction. Like, I don't want that, definitely, and then you know where to get that. I don't want that, and maybe you didn't have that in your first relationship, but you know for sure that you want to try that, a personality trait or whatever, and you're like, no, actually, I'm 100% sure that I don't want that. So what I want is this. And then you get that because you got the data, let's say. But again, dating, it's the thing. The sex is relative. You can have, awesome lovers, but if you don't connect to emotional level, it's you knew that you signed up for sex only. And for me, it's down the line, you start finding it's not like again too hot to cold from too hot. Like, okay, you're getting there and then you find the love of your life because you're dating a lot and it's not a statistic. But the dating part will give you a lot of insight about yourself. It's like presentation, performance, habits. You have a second chance to actually find a person with interests that are non-negotiables for you, or a person that without having the same habits, it's okay with yours, with things that are non-negotiable. So in the good side of, starting over, it's like, and sometimes we're very rigid with ourselves. We can start over 100 times, 1,000 times, sometimes with the same person, sometimes with a different person. But every day we got the chance to start over. And I know that this fear of uncertainty keeps a lot of people in unhappy relationships as well. The same way that this keeps a lot of people single. I don't want to risk my peace. And then you gotta also, you will find somebody that is worth it to risk it. So, okay, I will definitely gamble my peace at this, person, and it could happen that you marry again. Who knows?
It's
That's my
definitely
take.
it's definitely a gamble. It's definitely a gamble for your peace. I never heard anybody say it like that. Dude. Right
The way
on.
of putting it.
Yeah, it's the right verbiage. Oh my God, you guys are giving me so much to touch on. So first things first, I want to touch on what Sean said about the breath. I 100% agree with it. I notice a lot of men don't understand that they can actually sit with themselves, breathe, and just observe that energy, just sit with it. And even better, like Sean shared, go the extra step and use it as creative energy that you can use to create in this amazing world that we live in. So I see a lot of men struggle with that because they have all this energy, they don't know what to do with it. And I agree with Sean that a really great way to use it is through through the breath, and it's something that's easily accessible to everybody, all of us. So I had to tap in with my guy Sean, and something that came up as well when I was listening to Zambrano's share. Also, is the premise of intimacy. Like intimacy is truly a privilege. And when you're able to be intimate with someone, like when you're actually able to get freaking naked with someone, and then like you're, you know, holding each other, having deep ass conversations with them, like doing all that stuff, like there's so much value to it. It's truly a privilege. And a lot of people miss that. They kind of just dismiss it. And it's absolutely heartbreaking because there's so much value in that. You learn so much about yourself. You're able to, like Serrano said, gamble and open up your heart and see what happens. Like, and hope that I don't freaking stab the shit out of it. And it's scary, but it's also, in my opinion, makes you more human. And it's really difficult to do that when you're doing the whole hookup culture and doing all that stuff. It's really difficult to get to that point. Um, and Alex was sharing as well, about making not making women, but like having control of yourself where you don't have to feel like I need to go and have sex with this person right away. Like I find that women love it when you make them wait. I found personally that they love it, that they don't see you like with this, like, oh my God, I need to get it out. I'm like, I'm chilling. This can either work or not. Like, I'm chilling. I'll go home and I'll be happy. I'll be good. And I find that women find that very attractive, and they typically keep coming back. Like, so because it takes a lot of, willpower for a man to be like, no, I'm good. When there's someone in front of you who is like, might be all over you. I've been there, and I've had someone in my room, and I'm like, all right, bye. And it's there's power to that, to an extent. And I just want to make a clarification about the hookup culture. I think there's a difference between the hookup culture where, like, that's what my fraternity brothers did, where they were like fucking all these girls all at once. I think what I'm talking about is, dating multiple people. I think in nature, that's what men do. That men are used to having multiple partners, and if, from my perspective, it allowed me to really get to know myself better, and most importantly, like Samantha was sharing, understand what I like and I don't like, and not just about sex, just about the person that I want to be with. Like it allows me to really understand, like, okay, what is my preference? Do I like black women? Do I like Asians? Okay, that's different. But but it also does help. It does help. You gotta know. You gotta know. The thing is, the problem arises is where men don't know that boundary. They don't really understand how to really set those boundaries in a way that's supportive to them. I personally think that it's okay for men to be, I guess it's called polyamorous, where you are dating multiple people, as long as you're freaking not an asshole and you're open and honest about it. Because if you're freaking hiding behind shit, like, you're an asshole. There's no way around it. You're a freaking dick, because women are gonna catch feelings for you. And for you to be like, it doesn't matter, it does. Like, they're gonna paint you in a certain way. So for me, I think it can be a very helpful tool if you know how to not let sex freaking blind you, where you're just so caught up in things that, like, you don't understand. Because even when I was dating multiple women, I made them wait. Like, I would make sure that I could have a conversation with this person. Like, I made sure that we would go eat and do all these things. Like, it was never like fucking dumb to go to the, like, no. Because I found that when I was lucky that I saw what it was doing to some of my brothers, and in my fraternity and college and all that, and I saw how disconnected they were to themselves and to the women that they were with. So for me, it's a self discovery tool that we can use, and biologically, you know, to look at Africa, men are used to having multiple partners. I'm a big believer that it's really difficult to do that and do it well, because in order for you to have deep connections with multiple women at the same time, challenging. Like, having one woman that you have a deep connection with is very challenging. But I'm a believer that if you do find that, if you find where you can be with two, three, four women, and it works for you guys, I don't see the problem with that. I think that's 100% natural and organic, and if it feels right to you, if it doesn't drain you, I support it. For me, I find it really difficult because just one woman, just one woman is rough. Is rough. For you to actually really get deep with them, be vulnerable with them, be intimate with them, it's really challenging. But I know I have some friends who do engage in polygamy, and they're super happy, and it works for them and everything like that. Um, as I say this, I definitely want to close this off by sharing what Zambrano shared, the importance of being a role model to your kids. Like, it's so important. Like, who do you want your kids to be with, right? Like, I don't necessarily have a daughter, but I did raise my younger sister, and I I want to set higher standards for her. That's a really big intention for me, and I want her to see what a high quality man. Like, I know that's like blurred out there in the world now, but a man who actually cares, a man who's compassionate, a man who's strong, a man who can hold space. It's so important for me to make sure that I model that. So, yeah, yeah. Just all I'm saying all this to say that y'all got me cooking. Y'all got me cooking, and I'm loving this conversation. Alex, I see your hand is up next, though. Go ahead, brother. Damn, we an
Everything,
hour.
everything that everyone's sharing is it's a really fresh perspective, and it reminds me of how rigid I can be sometimes. So that's a really nice reflection point for me. And the first point that really kind of reminded me of that is when Drew was talking about dating. And I could definitely see how meeting different people, like how that can really help you get to know yourself, and it can be fun and exciting to meet new people. So I really resonated with that. Um, and I think that that is an important distinction too. Which reminds me too is communication and agreements, right? And really being on the same page, like actually, like I think that that's really important. And if whatever two people decide that they want to do, like, let adults be adults. So I'm a big supporter of that. Um, the whole polyamory thing is kind of interesting. Because I kind of maybe it's just because of who I am. I don't like to spread my energy too thin. I like to, there's like a few things that I love to do, like hobbies, hanging out with my homies, work, family. And like I put it all in on those things. And like I see a lot of other things and I see how this could make me rigid too. I see them as distractions. But I like to have like a lot of variability within those few things that I really enjoy and I appreciate and I like to develop. But I've had an experience where I was dating two women at the same time, and I was open and honest about it all, and neither of them liked it at all, not even a little bit. They did not like it. They literally pushed me into a corner and said, "You better choose." I'm like, "Fuck," and I did, and broke one of their hearts, and it was not fun, and it was just not a fun situation. So. I do think that it can work for some people. For me, it couldn't work. Just because for me, of my focus and my attention, like I eventually like my logical mind takes over and it's like, okay, like if I have like three girlfriends right now, like naturally I'm gonna be like, okay, which one do I really want to be with the most? Which one really do I resonate with the most? Because and then my mind and my heart are gonna weed that out. Because it's like, Alex, bro, like you don't have that much, you have all this energy and like you have these work projects. You want to be a good role model. Like can you do that with all these people? And the answer is no. I personally cannot. It wouldn't work for me. And in my experiences, it didn't work. And people are where they're at, and I respect that. And for me, a big part of it is just communication and agreements. And I noticed that when I do just stay in my lane all the time, and I just do what I like to do, I tend to get very rigid. I tend to get very rigid, and like I know this because I get very anxious. So, and how it shows up as is trying something different, trying something new, something that I might not normally do, or something that I do with a different lens on. Um, because I can feel when I get rigid. And for me, when I get rigid, then I get very closed-minded and I miss kind of like the meat and potatoes of things. So yeah, your guys' perspectives on sharing everything, and especially Drew's about like dating and like meeting new people, like I could definitely see the value of that. And it's definitely given me a new perspective on certain things. So that's definitely something I'll be carrying with me and thinking about after this call.
It's still autism in you, bro. It's all good. Uh, no, I love it, brother. I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Sean. I got Sean with that one. I got Sean with that one. I got him on guard. I knew I was gonna catch him on guard. Go ahead, Sean.
Sean is like, hey, we're twins. What does that mean?
Sombrero. So I really appreciate this conversation. I feel like everyone has had really good perspectives and I can really level with all of it. And something of through it all is really showing up for me. In my life, I've met a lot of people who are byproducts of this hookup culture. They don't know their parents or they don't know their dad. They don't know their mom. They live in a broken family. And so what seems, at least to me, this is just who I am, what seems to be innocuous isn't. We can harm people for generations doing this. Alex and I were just lucky enough to have a great adoptive family, but if we weren't adopted, we'd be living in a broken house, literally. And it's all just because people want to get something out of their system and this misinterpretation. So I can see everyone's point and perspective, but I'm always thinking about the coming generations. And if we just have a bunch of people who just want to hook up and do all this stuff, hey, that's great. How is that going to affect our kids now? And how is that going to affect kids 7 generations from now? And my answer is it's not going to be very good at all. We don't live in tribes in the middle of the jungle with loincloths over our dicks, swinging rocks at animals anymore. We don't do that shit anymore, guys. We just don't. So I think it takes a really special type of person to be able to spread their energy so thin to be with so many different women. We just don't have the societal structure for that, in my opinion, energetically and physically. So my warning to all the young kings is think about the coming generations because behind every broken family of, oh, I never met my dad or my dad left really young or my mom left, it's a lot of it. One of the root problems is this hookup culture. And like to me, like I can't do that to the coming generations. I just can't. I want kids to grow up with solid homes. And I know that that's not possible maybe in our reality for everybody, but That's so important to have two solid parents who are willing to show up for you, thick and thin, bad and good, all the things in between. And that takes effort and work. And I notice that this generation doesn't want to put a lot of effort and work into things. A relationship takes work and effort. And obviously sometimes things just don't work out, but we have to think of the long haul and we have to think of the kids of the future. Because I've met more people than I could ever count who never met their mom, never met their dad. And as a result of it, they have to deal with a lifelong trauma and navigating a problem they may never actually solve. And maybe they'll never even find real intimacy and love in their life to begin with because of the inception of how they were brought into this world. So there's a lot of things to consider with this. And I really appreciate all the perspectives that everyone brought today. But I just invite us all to remember that think about the kids, guys. We need to leave a better world than when we came. And I don't think we can do that by messing around and screwing a bunch of people all the time. It just doesn't happen that way. It's just the energy is too frenetic and too chaotic. And I feel like we need to come together and make this a fine pointed spear so we can really leave something special for the coming generations.
We're cooking. We're really cooking. Go ahead, Zambrana.
Yeah, I want to add a couple stuff to Sean's perspective. Like broken homes could be with two parents as well, and that's dangerous a lot because it's like your perception of reality and unhappiness. And we come, at least in the art, from a generation of parents that will stick together till they die, even though if that makes them miserable. And for me, that was something also that triggered my divorce. I was like, well, I'd rather love my daughter and she get the best out of me the 50% of the time that I got her, that be with her 100% of the time unhappy, and she will see that the rest of her life. So it's like, yes, hookup culture, okay, let's don't go to that stream, but understanding, how happiness look like and how a healthy home looks like also is important for the same kids that we're trying to protect from hookup culture. So it's like it's a little bit of a balance right there where you start like thinking, okay, so what's the best possible life that I can live for myself and others? And when it comes to monogamy and uh, polyamorous relationship, it's I would say that most of the time, it comes from self-love. You love yourself so much that you try to find efficiency of your lifestyle. Imagine, I'm not excusing, military people, truck drivers, like if you are out of your home most of the year, 9 months out of 12, monogamy will be way more of a challenge, obviously. So, and you see all these statistics like, okay, what professions that tends to be more, like to the high level chances of cheating and stuff like that. And you're like, why they have that? Because they have that freedom. They're not committed, So I think that it's the settings, and I think that obviously, if the reason of monogamy is because you think that you find a long-lasting partner, yes. And sometimes marriage broke because financial is one of the biggest, more even than love or insects. Financial struggle is one of the biggest reason of divorce. So it's like we have fundamental things to have to be covered, like food, shelter, certain level of stability, and then we have the physical stuff, and then you have the spiritual stuff. So I would say get good in the foundation, financial, physically, then you go to the emotional part, and you do that by yourself, or if you already have a partner, try to get your partner into that real. Like something I'm neglecting, or I've been like neglecting most of my life, is the spiritual part, because I didn't want to tap there, not by myself, not with my partner. So it's like, wow, I know how I like cooking, it says like, oh, you're just good cooking. So that part is like, okay, I want my partner to be on board in the same like habits, like meditation and stuff like that I like. But at the same time, I got to respect who they are. And the same goes for monogamy. Like, what happened if mid of your marriage you change your mind in terms of values? Like there's not institution resilient enough to take that on. You're gonna lose it. So you're an asshole. But it doesn't matter how you explain it. You have to let that person go because the fundamental agreements that you made are not working anymore. So what I'm trying to say with that part is like, especially because I met people with very happy life and polyamorous relationship, and when I question them, it was okay. So first, again, agreements within the agreements. So there were layers, there were ground rules. This is third layer of separation. I have to meet them first. And then you got, like in this society, monogamous relationships when they're swingers. So it's like, okay, so whoa, that's monogamous, but at the same time they have the sexual freedom. So what's that? Is that an in between? Is that risking the kids or not in terms of their development? What will be the view of kids that their parents are swingers? So how they're gonna their view on sex will be different from the view of the structure. The structures remain the same, the sex part is different. So I think that it's such an holistic thing that I don't think that we as a society will have to an agreement which model will be the best one. Because then you find these people in polyamorous relationship being so loving and understanding and respectful of themselves and others sometimes that you're like, whoa, I wish most of the monogamous relationship have this level of connection. I have this level of freedom, let's say, but not freedom to sleep with somebody else, freedom to know somebody else. And that's the thing. When you're in a monogamous relationship, you feel this, oh, whoa, I shouldn't say that. I should have met with this person. What's proper and improper, and the polyamorous, you got that freedom to date whoever you want and still respect your primary partner in most of the structures of this kind. So I would say that we are big enough in our brain, and we can talk to our parents about our fantasies, like let's dress up, let's go to the laundromat, whatever fantasy is that. If you can live 1,000 lives with the same person, for me, that's my preferred, type of person. Somebody that's playful and joyful enough so we can try stuff to the level that is healthy for both at the time that we are proposing these, fantasies. So that's my take in monogamy and sexuality kind of combined.
Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. This is so good. This is so, so good. Samran, I hear you 100%, brother. I hear you 100%. My brother Drew, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Everything you guys have been saying, it's a good thing to think about. Yeah, the whether it's like the swiping or the random hookup culture, sex or scrolling or like that mindless pursuit of like feel good. It's just all dopamine chasing. And you can get dopamine or any of those other feel good chemicals from a lot of different things, from breathing, like Sean was saying, or exercise. You can get it from sex, you can get it from technology. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's about, keeping that balance and not just the mindless pursuit of feeling good, because people get stuck in that all the time, whether it's with especially with the scrolling and yeah, sex can become that too. um so yeah, it's interesting to think about just kind of like what does that healthy balance look like all around, and when does it become um maybe destructive is too strong of a word, but like not the best path that you want to head down, and when is it in balance? And I think that can be a delicate line you ride sometimes, but um I think communication, knowing yourself, honesty can all is are really the things that, and self-reflection are the things that um keep you on the right side of that balance.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't agree more, Drew. I couldn't agree more. Um, and it is indeed 10 p.m. my time, so we're gonna have to end it here. I think we're gonna have to do part two because I have a feeling we're not done. I have a feeling we're not done. And I know this is recorded, and I know a lot of young kings are gonna watch this, and I just want to emphasize, like look at all the guys I shared. Pay attention to where you are. Like really find out what works best for you. For some men, monogamous relationship, that's what they see themselves being able to do. For other men, like they prefer polygamy. And but one of the things that I think we can, all agree on here is that that hookup culture is really destructive. It's really toxic. Be really mindful about that. Like whether you're dating or whatever season you're in, be very mindful about how you're using the energy and how you're making sure that sex is not controlling your life. You want to control your life, not the other way around. If that looks like polygamy to you, awesome. If that looks like monogamy for you, awesome. But ultimately, make sure that you're in control of your own life. And one of the most powerful energies that we have as men is our sexual energy and being able to transmute that energy to things that actually support you and your goals. So pay attention to really pay attention to who you are, what you like, what your capacity is like, and find out what works best for you. And then from there, be very mindful because hey, it can be blinding. And this time I'm definitely speaking from experience. It can definitely be blinding. So I appreciate Tamara, don't laugh like this, bro. You're not helping. I appreciate all of you guys very much. This has been a really, really powerful call. Yeah, I know we're gonna be here next week, same time, same place. I'm gonna do my best to keep it at the hour mark, but I could not just stop you guys for those extra 10 minutes. So I appreciate you guys staying a little bit longer. Typically we do end right on the hour. So thank you guys. We'll be tapped in. And we actually have the men's mastermind this weekend. 6 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Central time, Pacific time. I'm not even gonna say it because I don't remember. But we meet once a month every month, and you see all kinds of men there, and it's a little bit different structure than this. Like it's not recorded, so we can really be very vulnerable and share what we're doing. And then also it's a place where we can share wins, challenges, and really support each other. So I hope to see all of you guys on there on Sunday. If not, do not talk to me. I'm just kidding. Stay blessed, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks for showing up.
Good night. Bye bye.